Hey, Trey Campbell here, coming at you with a video trade plan for the 5th of February 2019. I'm going to keep it fast and get this wrapped up. I'm going to start on the 4-hour chart here. We're still overbought and continue to be overbought, so any sell triggers are evident. We're obviously pushing that boundary there. So that's our bias there. We still got structure here to the left on the 4-hour chart that we're coming into. It looks it's getting interesting. It's really getting interesting. So we'll just keep plugging along here and see what happens. Let's break it down here to the 15-minute chart here really fast, just to show you where we are right now. This is a very heavy buy trigger type day. So basically, let's do this first. So if we bounce, let's say if we do a bounce overnight over this, obviously plus 0.5, one standard deviation there will be the good sell triggers for shorting. Although in the short term we really don't have any structure on the 15-minute to the left, so that's kind of like no man's land, but we should still get some reaction there. If nothing else, maybe the play like what happened today here, whereas this has been a kind of a common theme where we would break out of the plus 0.5 and then kind of just stay in that range. We won't come up to the plus 0.1, but we'll just kind of stay in that range. And so maybe that might be your taste to look for, if support can hold that plus 0.5 there tomorrow. However, I think overnight, depending on what happens there, the only trades that I'm really going to be interested in are shorting this area wherever I can find a good entry, lower high entry, change control. And also the big play here for me is if this thing gets down into this negative 0.5 here, or the POC, or the -1. If we get a dip on down into there, I'll be buying this off the value area low bounce. I doubt we'll get that low. We'll probably come down. We may come down. If we don't bounce off value area high, we'll come down to this -5 overnight and bounce off of it, and kind of mess around. But either way, I'll be looking for these buy triggers in this area here around this POC and -5, -1 area, for a bounce, and that's it. I'll be waiting to buy, and I'll buy it. And the reason I'm looking to buy it is if you look at go back to the 4-hour chart here. Check this out. So if we do sell off into this box tomorrow, the chances are pretty good that we will get a bounce here, because guess what, now we've got this Keltner here, the middle Keltner, and that's showing signs of support too, and it's actually coming up to that POC. So that's what gives me the idea that that's where I really want to nail a bounce right there. Short-term take profit at the -5, but you could chase it all the way back up there to the value area high, and this thing either makes the bounce play tomorrow, or this thing could roll all the way back over to the -1.5. And in the case that it does that, we should get a bounce play around in here. We were talking about yesterday this level here needing to hold for the bulls to actually on the 4-hour chart to stay in control. So you might see some kind of weird, if this thing was to dip, you might see some kind of weird like wick action right there, but it needs to hold this to continue this uptrend and not get, if it pulls down, if it comes all the way back down into this area where this support is, now we've turned into a chop fest. So that's either one of two things are going to happen. The bulls are going to stay in control, or we are going to just start chopping. And So that's the idea right now. So I'll be looking for buy triggers all through, as this thing comes down. Buy trigger there, buy trigger here, buy trigger there, and then obviously you got the short triggers up here. But be cautious of these. You want really good structure on the 1 minute chart before you get into something like this, because like even today I got messed up with one. Let me go back in time here a little bit if I can. Let's see, where were we? Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, right here. Okay, guys, you remember this. So we had this really good surge here, and the plus half was right here somewhere, and I just went into the short right there. I didn't wait for change control, which was my fault, and this thing just kept pumping. And luckily, I was able to nail. So I was in here, and I was able to roll up into here somewhere. Once this thing started kind of moving back into the Keltner there, I got another order right there, and this thing actually came back to where I got out of this trade break even before it expired at 3 o'clock, and this one expired in the money, so that one made up for that one. So I got lucky there, but I did roll that, and just like I said in the trade plan before, I was willing to do that. The problem was where I rolled it, there was no structure. I just did kind of like a blind roll. I just kind of sold randomly. There was no like sure resistance right there other than what the price action was making. So there wasn't really anything back here, telling me that there's a ceiling there. It just was kind of making its own ceiling. So that was just a call I made, and it actually worked out. But so going back to tomorrow, you need to be aware of that same possible scenario. We've got more earnings and stuff going on, so just keep that in mind, that that's a possibility if this thing does keep going. You want to wait for, on the 1 minute, the best scenario on the 1 minute is it comes up and it rejects it, and then you get this lower high that's just it either can't make it to that level, or it just closes under, or it wicks, but it's a lower high, and that's a good pitch perfect trade right there. So if it's not doing that, then we need to sit back and reestimate how we're gonna trade this. So as of right now, it's a buying day tomorrow, but let's buy it for cheap. Let's wait for it to go on sale. Let's not buy here, up here. Let's not buy that. That's like buying a Christmas tree at Christmas time. You just don't want to do that. You want to wait for the day after Christmas, so everything's 50% off. And then that's what we're doing here. We're just kind of waiting for this market to move. That's where I'd like to own it, right there. So shoot me a text or chat if you got any questions, and you guys have a good night, and we will get back to it in the morning, trade and make some money. See you later.